go around doing stuff for people that they don't ask you to do, and you expecting gratitude from them, oh, you're going to break your heart every time.
Better say that, because they be happy when you're doing it, but they'll happily tell you, I ain't tell you to do that.
Mm-hmm. So you got to sow that seed freely with not expecting anything from it. That's otherwise, you're going to be very hurt expecting gratitude from people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, and one thing about Joseph, no matter what they put him, everything he did it as unto the Lord, which is why everything he touched just turned to gold. You know, everything he touched prospered. I don't care where they put him, he prospered, you know. And the very people that did him wrong, you know, that just did all this horrible stuff to him, when he had the opportunity to throw that back up in their face and just, you know, make them suffer, he could have ordered them killed and nobody wouldn't even much thought nothing about it, you know, because he had just that much power, you know, in Egypt. But he understood that what they did for evil, God made it for good, because he understood that his mission, you know, even though they meant it for evil, God sent him there. He told them, God sent me here, you know,
to help.
Yeah, so that I could preserve your life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. See, you meant it for evil, but you think you sent me here, but God sent me here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to realize. And just because, you know, we have God's favor, that don't mean every day gonna be flower beds of Eve. And we gonna see life through rose-colored glasses, you know, because Joseph was shown enough favor by the Lord, and look at all what he went through.
And it wasn't no minute he went through it too, because he was like, that was almost 17 years, huh?
Somewhere around up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was about 30 when it became, you know, he was a pretty good age when they put him over everything.
And go ahead, sister.
No, I was just saying he went through it a long time. It wasn't a minute.
But that speaks to his character, the way he lived his life. Speaking of his father being an older man, probably did take more time with him and able to teach him things that with patience that he didn't otherwise have time with the others. But at the same time, you know, that allowed Joseph to be humble and obedient.
Mm-hmm.
And characteristics is what he seemed like that was markers for his life and the way he lived his life. He did things, as we talked about in the past, in excellence. Everything he did, even for Potiphar, he did it in excellence, in order to reverence God.
That's a good point, woman of God.
That's a real good point.
Because, you know, when you think about Joseph, he just like, even when he had kids, you know, even after he rose to second in command, you know, only second to Potiphar, not Potiphar, but Pharaoh on the throne. He said, only on the throne, you know, am I going to be greater than you. I'm putting you over everything. All my business, all my workers, over my house, everything. I'm putting you over everything. The only thing that you ain't going to be over is me.
And he didn't need to be over him because he had everything.
Right.
He had the ring.
But think about it now. You got to think, Joseph was Jacob's child of old age. He got a chance to spend time with Jacob, you know, all those years, watching Jacob. Because, see, he got the best part of Jacob. Because by the time he came along, you know, that angel and Jacob had done fought all night long, and the Lord had done touched that hip and changed its name and everything. Joseph got the best part of Jacob, so he got a chance to see the righteousness of Jacob. And that's how he knew. And so he imitated what he saw, he had the
new name by the time he had him, huh?
Yeah, Israel. Yeah. Yes, he did.
But Israel. He met Israel. He didn't know Jacob.
Right. So the blessing was already on him, but even though he was favored, he still went through. And just because, we have the favor of God on us don't mean we're not going to go through.
That's right.
Tell me about it.
and by him being, the child of Jacob, Israel's old age, at a time when he had transitioned from, being a trickster and lying and scheming, he'd come over to the righteousness of God, and God had began, blessing him. And you remember God made him rich. They were well off. They weren't struggling. They had plenty, So Joseph grew up watching his dad and how his dad reverenced God and how God, he sacrificed God, and no matter what they went through, he watched his daddy give reverence to God. So when he went in the pit, when they sold him into slavery, it was like everything he did it in honor of his God. That's what he, and that's what made him rise to the top, because his level of integrity to his God was at a level that no matter where they put him, he was gonna shine. That's an awesome reputation.
It is.
I mean, what daddy wouldn't be proud of his son in a situation like that? Because it's easy to say I love you when everything is just wonderful and everything. But even when he rose to second in power, he wasn't satisfied with that, because that wasn't what he. They done brought him to a pagan land, promoted him to second in command over a pagan kingdom, gave him a pagan wife, you know what I'm saying? Pagan riches, but one thing about it, he gave his children Hebrew names.
And he told them, when you leave out of here, he prophesied. Leave my bones up in here. You take my bones with you. So he prophesied that they were coming out. And when they came out, and he might not have been alive, but he didn't even want his bones left in Egypt.
Because that wasn't his home. That was not his home. And I was like, wow. And when we think about, this earth is not our home. We ain't trying to stay here. We're not living to stay here. This is not our home. Our home is a heavenly kingdom, not this hell down here.
Well, I'd be glad when we have a new heaven and a new earth.
A new heaven and a new earth, Yeah. But this right here, they can have it.
It's not the one. It's not the one here.
Not at all.
It's going to be like heaven. It's like they going to merge heaven, the glory. He say, fill this earth with his glory. So this